How do you think Steve stayed mature through day one?
Yeah, like Steve staying mature, although he's facing many signs of many social injustice.
I mean,
with the
like,
guards.
I think like the guards are treating him terribly because he's like black and all. Like you're stereotyping him, but he's like keeping control of himself, and he's like not really like he's just like basically like ignoring them because he knows like if he fights back, he'll probably get in more trouble and then like go to jail for even more time.
Yeah.
And like even though like he's in jail for a long time because people think he did commit.
He was only the lookout.
Yeah,
And I think the jury doesn't understand.
I don't think it's very
That
fair.
jury doesn't understand. They're just stereotyping him because he's black, so they think he actually murdered those people. But
They thought he was part, And also, another part I don't really understand is how when Oswaldo, or however you pronounce his name, was on the stand, and he admitted that he was part of this robbery or murder that happened in this shop. Why didn't they arrest Oswaldo?
Yeah, why is he
Like, how does he get off? Even though he got a deal from the government, you don't just get off free for murder.
They usually get like half a
Yeah,
sentence,
you don't just get out free deal for murder.
Like, why did Steve, the lookout, get almost like a death sentence and he gets nothing? Well, they almost do the same thing.
And I think Steve is too young. He's sentenced to a lot of years in jail. He's only 16, right?
Yeah, I learned that in social studies. It's a cool unusual punishment.
Yeah, he's only 16 while Osvaldo is part of a gang called Diablo. And he says he's not like violent, but however in order to get into the Diablos, you have to like fight another person in the gang.
It's like the rest of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you have to use a knife against a random person.
Steve's not being treated.
Yeah. What do you think about Osvaldo getting treated differently than Steve?
I think that you should be getting treated differently than Steven because Steve did like much more like worse.
He didn't do it.
He did a worse crime than
Osvaldo.
Yeah, Osvaldo is part of this. And I think Steve's dad, even though Steve is telling his dad that he's innocent, his dad's not buying it with the jury. Because when Steve and his dad talk about jail and like when Steve and his dad meet, like his dad starts crying and Steve has never seen his dad cry. And I think Steve realizes that maybe that he wasn't supposed to be part of this, and even though that he's not guilty of anything, he still shouldn't be locked up.
I think Steve deserves a second chance.
Yeah.
why do you guys think that they call Steve a monster? Like,
Yeah, I don't understand why they called Steve a monster.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
Prosecutors trying to make it sound like they did something like worse.
Yeah,
like
I think the prosecutors are trying to aim for the death sentence for Steve. Like, I understand death sentence for like King and Evans, but for Steve, he wasn't really he didn't kill anyone, unlike King and Evans. And I think that the prosecution is just assuming that Steve killed someone, and they're stereotyping him because he is black.
It's really hurting Steve because he writes in his notebook.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but he's writing this down all as a movie. Like, why would you write this down as a movie?
I'm not sure.
You're on trial for murder.
yeah,
If it's a movie, I'm predicting that
Steve, like,
didn't get
Steve, he like knows that he didn't commit murder, but like everybody else thinks he did just because he's black.
Yeah,
But Steve like knows it himself that he didn't do anything, and he's just like I think people was like trapped in his mind that like he's such a bad person, but he knows like he's not.
I think this trial is
And
bringing
his
out.
lawyer brought up a good point about how he should not be treated this way, stereotyped to be a murderer, because his lawyer, O'Brien, said on page 26 that all people have to be seen as innocent before they are.
But the jury doesn't see that. All they see is a young 16-year-old black man sitting on trial for murder. They don't understand that he didn't do anything.
They don't think
and
it's
he's
an easy
innocent.
case, but it's not. It's way deeper. Like, if you were in his shoes, you would feel as bad as him. So.
And I think Steve is bringing out the worst that he's seen in his dad. Because his dad, I don't think his dad realizes that he's innocent. He assumes that Steve's going to go to jail for a long time.
That's correct. Matt, so how do you feel about Steve and how the jury's treating him?
The jury, they're really treating Steve differently than they would as a white person, because like they don't really know what happened, but they're like assuming that he killed people, even though like he didn't, and they're like they think that he killed somebody, but like if a white person was up there, like they probably wouldn't have thought that, but a black person's up there and they stereotype him as like a mean, like bad person in general, so they would think that he killed somebody, but he really didn't.